Hello there and welcome to the British GT Championship. We're here at Silverstone for rounds 11 and 12. Now these cars are about to be unleashed on the Grand Prix track, so no doubt we'll see these beasts at their best.
It's fast.
It's a fantastic track.
The lines are quite different in all of them, so
It's a great challenge, I really enjoy it.
It'll be a great one.
Last time out at Alton Park, the action got quite heated. And so did a few of the drivers. But at the end of it all, there was one man who came out on top. Jonathan Cocker won round 10 and took the lead in the championship, ahead of his teammate Tim Sugden, who was off racing in America. Not bad for a 17-year-old.
it's fantastic to be in this kind of position, really, and you know it makes me look forward to next year. It's brilliant racing with Tim because it just means that I've always got somebody who's generally quite a bit quicker than me to get myself up against. So I'd much rather be with Tim and be slower than be with somebody else and quicker than them, because that would never bring me on.
At Alton Park, we witnessed a classic battle between Porsche and Ferrari. Chris Niarchos really made Mike Jordan work hard as he tried everything he could to fend him off.
He was driving a very wide Ferrari, and he was defending to the point that probably another lap of weaving side to side I'd have got a little bit annoyed, but now he gave me a fair bit of room. You know, if somebody keeps blocking down the inside, I'm not one for making mad lunges. I'd rather just drive around the outside of them. No, he was fair.
It was brilliant. I mean, we had a great run, honestly, a fantastic run. And Mike's such a good driver, you know, and being able to sort of have a nice clean scrap for a couple of laps is good. Once my splitter was gone off the car, I effectively knew that it was only a matter of time before he got by. But I think I had a good time keeping him away from me for a while. Then he gave me a nice little wave, you know, once it was all over. So that was quite good. So I was really pleased with it.
Round 11 of the championship got underway earlier today, so here's Ben Edwards to bring us up to date.
Nathan Kinch started the Scuderia Cos Ferrari from pole position with Mike Jordan's Porsche alongside and the Embassy Racing Corvette in third. Track conditions were good, but mechanical problems caused the early retirement of Jordan and Sumter's car. Ricky Cole in the Zero competition Corvette worked hard to close the gap on Chris Niarchos, but this mistake cost him dear. There was even more fighting of the steering in the JWR Plessis Spark Porsche. A rear hub failure put the Jones brothers out. But Andrew Kokori avoided all such incidents to take his and Nathan Kinch's fourth win of the season. In the Cup class, the DRM Ferrari 360 of Adam Wilcox and Niamarin finally took its first win of the season after being one of the most consistent podium finishers.
The car is perfect today. We have another aerodynamic. It helps us in the handling, in the braking, and in the fast corners. So I think we can try win the championship this year.
Finally, the team gets to celebrate the top step of the podium.
Last time out, Andrew Kokori took the checkered flag for the win in Ferrari. He starts on pole position alongside him this time as his teammates, so two Ferraris on the front row. Changing conditions here at Silverstone. Has been raining. It's dried up now, so anything can happen. Here's Ben.
It's an all-Ferrari front row, but Kokori could do with another car or so between himself and the number 38 Porsche by the end to claw back some more points in the championship. Nigel Greensall starts fourth in the RSR TVR. Alton Park winner and newlywed Piers Johnson is fifth, ahead of the Mike Jordan and Mark Sumter Porsche. Peter Labat and Patrick Pearce are on row 4, and the DRM Ferrari is on pole in Cup. Andrew Kokori and Tim Mullen dictate the pace as they come around to take the start of the race, the rolling start. Right behind, remember, is Tim Sugden in the number 38 Porsche, but it's Kokori who takes the initial lead in through Pop's corner. We're on board with David Jones. There's a little bit of a touch there with Peter Labat in the Corvette on the outside. And actually, I think it's Patrick Pearce who took advantage of that in the Mosler. Now got ahead of David Jones as they head up towards Beckett's for the first time. just kicking up the dust a little bit. It's Andrew Kirkcaldy who's taken the lead. Sugden's got into second. He's got past Tim Mullen. Nigel Greensall is running in third place under some pressure from Piers Johnson as they head down towards Stowe.
Yes, Ben, and here the GT cars get a chance to stretch their legs on the long hanger straight at the Grand Prix circuit after, it has to be said, a few tight and twisty circuits the last few races, the last few rounds of this championship. So they really get a chance to extend these cars here.
Yeah, it's good to see these fabulous sports cars on the full Grand Prix circuit at Silverstone. Andrew Kirkcaldy leads, Tim Sugden in second, Tim Mullen in third place, and a slight gap back to these two TVRs. Nigel Greensall is the lead of the pair, then it's Piers Johnson right behind. Watch out for the Cup class leader. I think it's the DRM Ferrari. Yeah, just coming through in the yellow Ferrari. It is once again Nee Amarin who leads in that class, and just going through there, Martin Short in the Noble. They've had some problems this year, but they've been developing it. Having a little look up the inside. Now we're on board with Adam Sharp. He's having a look up the inside. Bang! Straight into the side there of Michael Caine. Michael Caine did well to hold that.
Yeah, that was never really on that move, Ben. Michael had already started to turn into the chicane there, and very speculative lunge by Adam.
Back to the leaders though, and Tim Sugden is certainly keeping the pressure on Andrew Kirkcaldy at the moment. Kirkcaldy was massively fast in qualifying. He had an advantage of some 2 seconds or so, but he's not able to use that advantage in quite the same way, not putting away perhaps quite as fast as I expected.
Yeah, and we saw Tim Sugden just tweaking his rear-view mirror there. The mirrors often move when you run across the vibration of the curve, and he's into the quick Beckett section now, the last corner leading onto the straight.
Wonderful section of corners this, one way then the other. Patrick Pearce putting some pressure on here. Let's take another look at what happened at the start. It was all quite bunched up initially.
Yeah, here we are on board with Jones in the Porsche. Goes to green, they're all obviously on the accelerator. He's trying to find a gap through, it's a bit tight to get through there. He might make it into Copse, yeah, he goes through on the brakes.
Everybody working for position, but we're back with Adam Sharp. Oh, and he's hit the back of Steve Wood in the number 77 car. Well, what do you make of that one?
Strange move, another very similar to his last one. There wasn't really a gap there. I would guess Wood would be a bit upset with that one.
Oh, and off's gone Nigel Greensall, straight across the gravel and the grass. He's back on top, and also off is Piers Johnson. There must be a problem over there at Bridge. Surely there must be oil down or something. And he's driven off, but he's in the gravel. He's going to get stuck there. He's not going to go anywhere from there. And that's a great disappointment. The leaders, I think, got through safely. Yes, Kirkcaldy and Sugden are still going round, but the safety car's being called. There is oil on the circuit. The question is, which car has been chucking that oil down? Now, the marshals think it might be the Lotus Elise of Gavin Kershaw and Barry White. Barry driving it, Gavin trying to prove that it's not coming from his car. But there's certainly oil on that side window.
Certainly got a lot of oil on the front of that car. They're just having a look around it now, see if they can see the source. No, they think that one's okay.
Oh, they think it might now be this one. This is the Lamborghini that's visiting just this weekend from the French Championship, and I think it's this car that's dropped the oil. Take another look at this, Kelvin.
Yeah, it looks not too bad through there. A little bit of a twitch from the leaders, and off goes the first TVR Greensall. Here's the next one. Yeah, he did quite well to hold it across the grass. I think on this next shot we can see, yeah, just on the outside of the circuit there, as the other TVR slides off, you can see the moisture of the oil there, just on the rubber line.
Very, very slippery, of course. And just to make matters worse, it's now beginning to rain. Adam Wilcox getting a drop in his eye.
Hey, coming down a bit heavier now. Coming down really heavy now.
Well, this is just what you need. You've got oil on the circuit, now it's beginning to rain. This is going to make conditions very, very difficult, Kelvin. We're getting ready for the restart. Andrew Kirkcaldy, Tim Sugden, Tim Mullen there as well, and they're all on slicks, aren't they?
Yeah, I was just about to say, Ben, let's remember they all started this race on slicks. The question is, do they pit and change to wets, which would entail an extra pit stop over and above the statutory pit stop. So I suspect most of the leaders will tickle around on slicks and hope to hold it all together until the pit stop window opens.
I'll tell you what, tickling, not much tickling going on from Nigel Greensall. He's really attacking in these conditions. You're on board Tim Sugden. He's running in fourth, but Greensall's got ahead of him. Into the pits, meanwhile, has come Adam Sharp. Now, they've put that car onto the wets, but they can't change drivers yet because we're not in the pit window. Here comes Greensall for the lead of the race. Nigel Greensall in the number 40 TVR has muscled his way past Andrew Kirkcaldy, and that TVR, and with Nigel Greensall behind the wheel, he loves these kind of conditions. He just loves going sideways, but keeping it under control. He's got ahead, and Sugden now is down in fourth position.
Yeah, Sugden, let's remember, with a healthy championship lead, so he won't be battling perhaps as hard as Greensill, trying to make a name for himself. He's keeping a watching brief, still close enough to not lose much ground, and frustrating Kirkcaldy because he obviously wants to pull away from Sugden and score more championship points.
Oh, and off goes the Mark Sumpter Porsche, and they've had problems with this car already this weekend, and it looks like they've got more problems. Meanwhile, Tim Mullen in the second of the Scuderia Cos Ferraris, he's flying it. These conditions seem to suit his car a bit better. The two Ferrari co-drivers, they've been looking at the weather, trying to work out what tyres should be put on the cars when they do come in. But the number 34 car, that's got Tim Mullen at the wheel at the moment. And if anything, that seems to be a bit quicker than Andrew Kirkcaldy's car, which may be better set up for the dry.
Yeah, he's looking like he wants to get through. You can see Kirkcaldy's car squirming under acceleration. Tim wants to get through, and all the time, Tim Sugden is just waiting. He's got a chance. Yeah, he backed out of that. Probably wise move by Tim Sugden there. He's just holding his ground and waiting. See, the ideal for him would be if the two teammates took each other off, but it's possible.
It's pretty close, isn't it? It's pretty close, side by side. I think Mullen's got through this time. Mullen now's got the inside line for Luffield. Great racing in these fabulous supercars, side by side motoring. The two Ferraris there and the Porsche right behind them too. Now Tim Sugden's going to try and get a bit more traction out of Luffield. On the power, up through the gears, into Woodcote corner. This is normally flat out, but he's having to feather the throttle there this time. And Kirkcaldy stays with him round the outside. Sugden definitely playing it carefully, as you say. Kirkcaldy can't afford to be too careful. He's got to go for championship points.
Yeah, he does, and he's having a go around the outside here, which is often a quicker line in the wet. I think Andrew Kirkcaldy actually did get a quicker line through Copse, and yeah, there he goes, heading down towards Beckett's. Not losing Tim, though. Tim will just wait and watch.
Well, it's a great race developing. Remember, it's Nigel Greensill that leads this race, and we'll see what happens after the break. Welcome back to Silverstone. We're enjoying round 12 of the British GT Championship in treacherous conditions. Most of these guys are on slick racing tyres. It's been raining, there's oil down as well, and we're enjoying this tussle for third place. And look at the Mosler, the yellow and black car, now trying to get in on the act here. It's gone past Tim Sugden. It's trying to get past early race leader Andrew Kirkcaldy, and they almost made contact. Just to tell you that Nigel Greensill is leading. He's on slicks with his TBR, storming away at the moment. But the Mosler, this American-built sports car, is right in the mix.
Yeah, Ben, and also I see just behind these three cars is the Cup Class 911, driven by Michael Caine. So normally those, and a big wobble under power from the Mosler. A big, powerful V8 engine in that car, and you saw him disappear in the rear view of Tim Sugden's Porsche. Then Tim also fighting for grip on the exit. There's the Cup Class car, Michael Caine, which normally wouldn't be up with these quicker cars, but the slippery conditions are giving him a good chance.
Yeah, he's up to 6th place overall. That's fantastic, isn't it? But now the pit lane window is open. They can change drivers. People are heading in.
I wouldn't do that.
Nice and steady.
Perfect, Peter, perfect.
So a good stop from Peter Labat. Meanwhile, Diana has caught up with a rather disgruntled Mike Jordan.
Mike, what happened to you out there?
Gearbox has gone. And no sign of it. It was running okay. And just went bang on mark going down Hanger Straight.
That must be very frustrating, because really it's out of your hands then, isn't it?
It is, yeah. Yeah, until I see what's broken in it. But the car is trying my patience somewhat at the minute. I think its days are numbered.
So twice race winner this year, Mike Jordan out of this one, but still in the group here. Patrick Pearce getting between Tim Sugden and Andrew Kirkcaldy. And Patrick Pearce driving beautifully in this Mosler. He really enjoys this big V8 engine sports car. Into bridge, he's got sideways though. Oh, it's gone! He's lost it, he's into the gravel. What a shame, he's been driving so well, mixing it with the big boys. And being push-started there is Neil Cunningham. Only the two mechanics allowed to push-start it, otherwise they could get a penalty. That's pretty hard work, but even harder work, I think, to get this car out the gravel.
Yes, Ben, they won't push that out, and yet they're calling it time. Maybe time for safety car, I think. Back on board with Sugden.
Yeah, Tim still keeping Andrew Kirkcaldy in distance so that he can attack if necessary. And that's what he needs to do in terms of the championship. But you're right, I think the safety car is going to be called for. Patrick Pearce gives up the struggle of getting it out of the gravel trap. End of race for him, and of course the big advantage that this man, Nigel Greensill, managed to open up will be completely negated now by the safety car. You have to feel for Greensill. He's been a star in these conditions.
Yeah, he was flying along, but it is a feature of endurance racing that the safety car is deployed often. There tend to be lots of incidents. Weather for wellies, perhaps.
Well, the weather conditions here at Silverstone have been completely changeable, haven't they? Look, Patrick Pearce's car is now out of the gravel, being brought back into the pits. Now, this is what happened to him earlier on those slick tyres.
Yeah, the car was already quite out of shape as he turned into Bridge Corner. He's got his foot on the brakes there. He knows it's inevitable. He's into the gravel, but unfortunately, these heavy cars, once it's in there, it's going to stay there.
Now, people are choosing to make their pit stops with the safety car out there, so it's good timing from that point of view. Come in, change drivers, perhaps change tyres. Now, let's see what the teams decide to do on tyre choice, because it has stopped raining, but the track is really quite wet. And this car coming in, of course, is the championship leading car. Tim Sugden handing over to the clear championship leader at the moment, Jonathan Cocker. Also in, their main rivals, Andrew Kirkcaldy will hand over to Nathan Kinch. Now, tyre changes taking place. It looks as though the Porsche is going on to intermediates. Interesting choice.
Yeah, it's a guesstimate, of course. The guys will use their experience. The driver might call it, the team manager might call it. Tim walks away in a relaxed fashion. They're off. That looked fairly to script, that stop.
Yeah, but I'm not sure it's to script for the Ferrari. They've got a problem here, you know. They've been trying to change the tyres, but it doesn't look as though they can.
Some problem with lifting the car, perhaps, as the Porsche goes by.
Also in there's the other Ferrari. Tim Mullen handing over now to Chris Niarchos. He gets away cleanly, I think. But as Tim Sugden can relax now, let Jonathan get on with it. I wonder what was going on with the Ferrari. Diana can find out more. She's with Andrew Kirkcaldy.
Andrew, what happened during that pit stop?
I'm not sure. I think the rear jack, one of the hoses is broken, so we're unable to change tyres, which is not really very ideal in these conditions. I think it may dry. It may actually be something that goes in our favour, but it's tricky out there. Really, really tricky. So.
Look, the conditions have just changed so much since you started the race.
Yeah, they have, and we just have to hope that Nathan gets used to it pretty quick. There's a lot of oil down as well, which is what caused the original safety car. So oil and water together doesn't make a very good mix on a racetrack.
Now the safety car heading back in. The two Corvettes up there, they've lost out a bit, I have to say, with the safety car coming out when it did, because they'd already made their pit stops. So that's just bad luck, really. They're involved in their own particular dice, but it's now not for the race lead. Just watch on board for a moment, though. We're on board with Ricky Cole heading down towards Copse Corner. On the outside there is Neil Cunningham, and Cunningham tried to stay ahead of this battle, but the actual race leader now is Godfrey Jones of the black Porsche. You just saw him going through the shot there. We're actually running on board John Finnemore's car, and there ahead is Godfrey Jones in the Porsche. Now I think they've stayed on slick tyres, so it's going to be a bit tricky for them.
Yeah, I think the two leading Corvettes, as we saw earlier, fitted wet, so they'll be off and away for these few laps. But the rain doesn't look so heavy now, so whether the Corvettes made the right choice remains to be seen.
Ferrari there, the Cup Class car, number 78, actually second overall, but Jonathan Cocker's not far behind, and I wonder if they've made the right tyre choice.
Tim, it's not over yet, but the car's working well because it's quite tricky conditions out there.
Yeah, to be honest, I don't think this weekend the car is working particularly well, but the lads made a very good tyre choice there, put Johnny on intermediates, which has obviously proved to be the right choice by a fair chunk, I think.
Well, I think we better let you go now and get back on the pit wall just to see what happens.
And if it rains some more, it'll be even better.
Now heading up towards Abbey, and Jonathan Cocker now trying to get past Lawrence Tomlinson in the number 40 TVR. Cocker moving around the outside and makes the move stick. That looks pretty good. I think that Tomlinson may be on slicks, I have to say. We know that the Porsche is on intermediates, but Tomlinson very, very tentative. Doesn't look as though he's got an awful lot of grip. And Jonathan Cocker with the intermediates on the Porsche looks very comfortable. Number 70 spins right in front of Tomlinson, and he hits him. Oh dear, what a disappointment. That TVR had been leading before the last safety car period, and now there's a fair bit of damage, I think, done to that car. Look at the left front. Yeah, look, very badly damaged. He won't be going any further than that, and that's a great disappointment. But back with the leaders, and Jonathan Cocker now closing on Godfrey Jones. This is for the outright lead of the race. Jones is struggling, he's on slicks, and here comes Jonathan Cocker on those intermediate tyres. He's got more grip, he can brake a little bit later, and he goes into the lead.
Yep, good move by Cocker. You saw Godfrey Jones's car squirming through Woodcut there, and still squirming as he goes through Copse on slick tyres. They'll be very cold. And here we have a replay of Lawrence Tomlinson going out of the race. Car spins in front of him. Oh, strange one. He seemed to have room to get through there, but it didn't quite make the most of it.
Now, the two Corvettes are on track together. They're battling over 8th place because they lost out a bit on the period of the safety car, but they're still having a great race, these two. It's good to watch. On board with Ricky Cole, he's behind Neil Cunningham. Now, these are separate cars. One is Embassy Racing, one's Zero Competition, but they're run under the same umbrella, if you like, the same team looking after the two cars, but there's great rivalry between them as well. So watching this one closely as they come through the complex.
Yeah, they've both got good grip. Remember, they're on wet tyres and working well in these conditions. Whether they remain to be working well if the track dries, we'll see.
Neil Cunningham taking that wide line, Ricky Cole on the inside line, still side by side. Good racing between these two. Now coming through Woodcut side by side. And well, Neil Cunningham just lets Ricky through there a little bit, so it's now Cole ahead. And that on the radio is Ricky's co-driver, Peter Labat, handed the car over to him earlier, encouraging him to stay ahead of the other one. But out in a clear lead now is Jonathan Cocker. The team chose well on the tyres, and he's driven superbly, Kelvin.
Yeah, young driver, put in difficult mixed conditions, wasn't sure of how much grip he was going to have, and he had to go out there and make it happen.
And look, Neil Cunningham's got back in past Ricky Cole, so much to the disappointment, no doubt, of Pete Labat in the pits. Ricky couldn't do much about that. That was a good move around the outside from Cunningham.
Yeah, still a good dice between these two teammates, in inverted commas. Good dice.
Out of club corner, and we're on to the last lap now, so it may well be that Cunningham has got this one sorted. It is the race for 8th place, though, remember. It's not as if they're going for the race win. I tell you what, though, this car's leading in the Cup class, and it is 3rd overall. What a fantastic achievement from one of the smaller cars, the less powerful cars. These conditions have been perfect for them.
Exactly, yeah. The lighter, less powerful cars tend to handle better in the wet conditions. Their lack of power doesn't tell so much, and that's a good result from those two.
But it's going to be the Group M Porsche that's going to win this race, just coming through the last part of the lap now. And in fact, interestingly, up there with the Corvette of Neil Cunningham. But Cunningham, of course, not featuring for a podium finish this time. It's Jonathan Cocker, having backed up Tim Sugden's early stint. He's driven superbly, hasn't put a wheel wrong in the most treacherous conditions possible. He comes out of the last corner. It's going to be another win to add to his tally this year. It's win number 5 for Jonathan Cocker. He takes the checkered flag, and in terms of the championship, that could be an absolutely crucial result. The team's delighted, and Jonathan Cocker has won again. Second position for the Jones twins put some of their disappointments in the recycle bin, and Kinch and Kirkcaldy recovered to 3rd despite the tyre change dramas. Attard and Adams won the Cup class and finished a fine 3rd overall, just 2 places behind outright winner Jonathan Cocker.
I quite enjoy the wet, and I think we made a brilliant choice on the tyres, and it just kind of all fell into place really at the end.
Many congratulations, first win of the year. How does it feel?
Thank you very much. Yeah, it was very good actually. It was great. It was wasn't hard work on the arms, it was just hard work out there really, but no, the team did a great job, and Nick did a great first stint as well, so it was great.
Jonathan Cocker still leads the championship. Sugden missed the races at Alton. The Ferrari boys could do with some good luck going their way to maintain the challenge. Wilcox and Amarin are ahead in the Cup class, but the Lotus of Kershaw and White is fast, and there are several cars capable of beating either for race wins.
So Jonathan Cocker and Tim Sugden extend their lead at the top of the championship table, but there is still 4 rounds to go, so the Ferraris could come back at them. To find out, join us at Thruxton next time out. See you. Bye-bye.
It all started in Greece, and that's where we're heading next for the latest from the Olympic Stadium on Transworld Sport next.